We are here. Let's go. Hopefully we don't have any issues. Hopefully we won't have any more issues. God bless everybody. Thank you for your patience tonight. This technology stuff, I think it might be the heat, but who cares, right? We're not making excuses. Glory to God. We're coming out blazing tonight. It's going to be a great night tonight. I got some things for you that I think will be really, really dope, but I think you actually kind of like, maybe. All right, listen, we're going to open your mind tonight. You know what this is. This is Church and State. I am your friend, your host, your brother, some of y'all's pastor, the one, the only, the right, some would say wrong, Reverend Bryson G. Baylor. Please, 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 pay the G. We out here. My God. All right, listen, Church and State. What is this? Church and State is our approach to really looking at culture, looking at politics, and trying to have a kingdom perspective and giving you a lens that I think will be a blessing to you. All right. So without further ado, let me say that again. What is Church and State? Church and State is our approach, my approach, to really try to look at culture, politics, etc., what's going on from a kingdom perspective. We get inundated with so much news, so much noise, so much stuff that it's hard to know what's real and what's fake. You feel me? What's right and what's wrong, and where should our lens be as believers? And so this is my attempt to really try to look as unbiased as possible, which is partially impossible for me, but I can do all things through Christ who strengtheneth me. If you get where I'm coming from, you understand. Amen. And so we're knocking this out tonight. We're going to do this in the name of Jesus, and we're glad that you're here. Listen to our listeners, to our viewers. Listen, tune in, lock in, tell somebody Church and State is on, because tonight's gonna be a good night. All right. Well, let's get this party started. Well, first of all, we got our beloved president has made a defiant articulation. My God, after media speculation for the past few days since the, some would say, atrocious debate performance that he gave, because of course he had a cold, and 12 days earlier he had been traveling through 15 time codes, again 12 days earlier, so it's given that he should have a very poor performance during that debate. And so, but after much attempt and effort by the political establishment, the Democrat political establishment, President Joe Biden came out with a very strong statement today via, I guess you would call it a declaration. I don't even know, but he put something out, and I'm going to kind of give you what I think it said, what it felt like it said to me. All right, so let's check it out.
I'm not leaving. I'm not leaving. I'm not leaving. The show goes on.
Show goes on, baby.
This is my home. They're gonna need a wrecking ball to take me out of here. They're gonna need to send in the National Guard or SWAT team, because I ain't going nowhere.
Joe Robinette Biden Jr. has told y'all to your face he is not leaving. And I said, my God, come on, President Biden. You better stand firm in the authority that God has given you. My God, as the president of these United States, he says, I'm not leaving. Because everybody in media, after the debate performance, and after the poll numbers have been slipping, and obviously after they've allowed us to wake up, and realize, look for ourselves and see for ourselves. And of course, as Taraji P. Henson told us last week, to look up. After we did this all on our own, we were able to come to a conclusion that everything might not be right with the president. But either way, I'm excited because this can mean a lot. I'm just glad to see them take a stand and to not be bullied by big media and by the corporate elite that would try to force him out of his democratically elected or at least nominated position as the primary. He said, and I quote, he said, millions of Americans voted in the primaries to have me as their Democratic nominee for the presidential election. He says, therefore, I am not leaving, and you can't kick me out. Only people can do that are the voters, and they already voted in the primaries. You know what this looks to be? It looks to me, if you ask me, that someone has a case of democracy. My God, democracy. Remember that thing that the Democrats been saying, all year long and forever? Democracy is at stake. What is democracy? Oh, it is a system of government by the whole population or all the eligible members of a state, typically through elected representatives. Oh my God, democracy's at work, and the Democrats are losing their mind because Joe Biden is not leaving. They want him to go. They think he's not going to win. I don't know. We'll see. But it's something to keep our eyes on because this could play into a tremendous system of debauchery and scamming and shady work that I think the Democratic Party and the big corporate media has had us bound up in. You see, because we have this dilemma, all right? There's this, dare I say, a struggle between right and wrong, between good and evil. I'm going to say it like that because this is really what it is. When you think about it, it's because the Democrats, listen, big media, when I say big media, I mean the mainstream media. 95% of mainstream media is literally controlled, bought, and sold by left-wing liberal proponents, advocates, mostly Democrats. And, you know, for the past 2 or 3 years, they've been convincing you that, you know, to think how they want to think. And this is going to get me into some trouble tonight because I'm going to go into an area that you might not like. And I don't mean to be a meanie pants because I'm not trying to be a meanie pants, but I just want us to kind of look, and I want you to see how much big media is manipulating you. And as I like to say, gaslight. And guess what? I got theme music tonight. I told you it was going to happen. I told you it was going to happen. It's gaslight. Gaslight. This is what the media is doing to you. They're making you think what they want you to think, convincing you, brainwashing you so that you can be their pawn and their puppet for their nefarious left-wing radical thoughts, movements, ideologies. Here is example number one, exhibit number one. I'm going to pull up. My God. Come on, let's check it out. Exhibit number one. This is what they say about the president. Now, this is the Associated Press, right? These are the people you're supposed to trust. They're telling you Biden at 81, sharp and focused, but sometimes confused and forgetful. What in the absolute what? Sharp and focused, but sometimes confused and forgetful. I'm like, come on, man. Come on, man. Come on, man. That's in my best Joe Biden voice, too. What in the world? He's sharp and focused, but sometimes confused and forgetful. You know what it reminds me of? It reminds me of the mostly peaceful protests that happened in 2020. It said, there was a headline, I wish I had the graphic. It said, fiery, but mostly peaceful protests. Literally, the guy has a goggle, like war clothes on, and behind him, like, is a background of pure fire. But they're saying, again, these liberal, left-wing, big media corporations are telling you, hey, it's fiery, but it's mostly peaceful. I'm like, what? And you know what their problem is? They think you're mostly dumb. This is the problem. They think you're mostly stupid, that they can tell you whatever they want to tell you. They can force their agenda, their ideas down your saved and sanctified throat, and you will take it because you've been somebody shout gaslight. They don't care about you. They don't care about you. They think you're stupid. They think that you will do whatever because they're telling you what's right. And this is the problem. You have this group of people, these elites in the media, in the corporate world, in every industry who force their mindset, their opinions on you. And the problem is the church is just taking it. Y'all supposed to have discernment. I don't understand this. You church people, why aren't we live on Instagram? You church people are discerning about everything. Oh no, somebody coming to church with their shorts, somebody got a hat on, your discernment kicks in. No, brother, take the hat off. Oh no, sister, oh your dress is too short. Oh, sister, that's not appropriate in God's house. Oh, I just know something ain't right about her, right? You got all this discernment for the stupid stuff, but here you are being gaslit, manipulated, and deceived so that a nefarious, demonic, antichrist agenda can be presented to you with your saved and sanctified self. No, I'm not saying that everything that the big media says is wrong. I'm saying a lot of it is wrong. And a lot of them are, and literally the big media is in bed with the liberals, with the Democrat Party. It's been that way for at least 3 elections. And you see it because they told you who your worst enemy is. Listen, literally the left big media tells you what to think, and they want you to go with it until they think something different. Oh, you don't believe me? You don't believe me? Lord, check this out. Check this out. Watch this. Pull up Exhibit A.
A very bold and vibrant president in Joe Biden.
But a majority of Americans, a majority of Democrats, according to our new poll, say they don't want President Biden to run again. What do you say to them?
I mean, George, I think that age is more than a chronological fact, to be very frank with you. It's about thinking about whether we have in our leader, which we do in Joe Biden, somebody who is bold. I mean, think about it. And in Joe Biden, we have a president who is probably one of the boldest and strongest American presidents we have had his response to the needs of the American people.
He's the boldest.
He is an extraordinary leader, and I wish that people could see what I see, because there's only one person who sits behind that resolute desk.
You're 58 now. If you win the second term, as you and the president are running to do, he would be 86 at the end of it. The Wall Street Journal had a poll showing 2/3 of Democrats say Joe Biden is too old to run again. Are you prepared to be commander-in-chief?
Yes, I am, if necessary. But Joe Biden is going to be fine. And let me tell you something. I work with Joe Biden every day. The work that under Joe Biden's leadership our administration has accomplished is transformative.
2 very prominent Washington Post articles today talking about President Biden's age, and that's a big concern among the young voters. And in growing poll numbers, that's a big concern. Are people right to be concerned about his age at this point?
Well, let me just say this. When I talk to these young voters, what they want is a leader who is in touch with the problems of today and has a vision for what we can do today and in the future to deal with it. President Biden is the first president to take on in any substantial way the issue of the climate crisis. I'm not going to engage in that hypothetical.
Thank God.
Because Joe Biden is very much alive and running for re-election. First of all, I would say that age is more than a chronological fact. I spent a whole lot of time with our president.
Come on, R. Kelly.
In the Oval Office or the Situation Room and in other places. And I can tell you, as I just mentioned, not only is he absolutely authoritative in rooms around the globe, but in the Oval Office, meeting with members of Congress, meeting with leaders in industry,
you gotta
meeting
be
with community
kidding
leaders.
me.
I will tell you.
You gotta be kidding me. She said age is nothing. She might as well have said age ain't nothing but a number. She said it's more than a chronological fact. Now, this is coming from the people who tell you to trust everything they say, that men can be women, that men can menstruate, that men can have babies, and we don't know what the heck a woman is, but she says age is more than a chronological fact. Well, the problem is with the left and with the Democrats in 2024, nothing is a fact. Not even age, not even the fact that we see our honorable, beloved, elected president falling, tripping, stuttering, stammering, doing everything that says, I'm not fit for this office. But yet she and other people in the mainstream media are sitting here telling you to your face, this ain't right. Come on, y'all. Help me out here. Help me out here. How? And the sad part is that was a great clip, and I don't even think I was showing for that. Wow, I just said some fire stuff. This is how they get you. They're gaslighting you, people. They're telling you what to think, how to feel, and they're looking you dead in your eyes and saying, don't believe what you say. Let's go some more.
I mean,
no,
this
there's
comes
more,
in a week where there was
some
New York Post report, inaccurate, false
this
reporting
was before,
that suggested the President
Biden
was kind of stalling, where he was paused, debate. He was looking the other way. I feel like there's a double standard. I mean, do you feel like there's a double standard out there and how people are looking at their ages?
They can't mess with him on substance, so they go after what they see as his Achilles heel, which is his age. And of course, a lot of people see his age as something that helps explain some of his wisdom and some of his compassion, the kind of compassion you see not just within his family, but outside of it. That compassion for people in his family, which is real and authentic, becomes solidarity for everybody in the country who's struggling, as well as for people around the world.
Crazy. That's crazy, if you ask me. More big media and Dems lies for Biden. It's gaslighting, fam. I mean, he's falling asleep. The man is falling asleep in meetings. And be like, oh, he's sharp. He's sharp as a tack. I showed you that last week. He's sharp as a tack. And then what happened? When he did sucky in the debate, everybody's like, oh, this guy needs to go. Now, I'm telling you this because this is a pattern with the Democrats. You're about to be mad at me. You're going to be mad at me for this one. I think you're really going to be like, Bryson, how could you? How could you do this to us? You're supposed to be our friend. We thought we could trust you. But you can trust me. The problem is you can't trust these people because they'll ruin your life if you let them. You don't remember. Let me refresh your memory to about 4 years ago, if you will. And let's do just a bit of a recap. Let's do a recap, shall we, of what happened and what they told you 4 years ago. Let's check it out.
Wrote on Twitter, don't be afraid of COVID. Don't let it dominate your life. Don't let it dominate your life?
In terms of responding to a comment like that, it's gross.
It's okay to be afraid of COVID, and it's okay that it's dominating your life.
Everyone should be afraid of COVID.
You shall know the truth, and the truth shall set you free.
I can't come in, Mom. It's because of this flu thing.
We won't be free of this pandemic until we listen to the acknowledged truth. Listen to the scientists.
Science is truth.
Science is truth.
What is the impact to public health when people are openly questioning the science?
Now is the time to do what you're told.
Do
by
what
not
you're
hearing
told.
The truth, by not listening to the scientists, they are prolonging how bad the economy will be.
When I see somebody out in the world who's not wearing a mask, I instantly think you are a threat.
Oh my.
Or you are selfish, or you are a COVID denier, and you definitely haven't been vaccinated.
Y'all remember this foolishness?
What does this have? Vaccinated? I am triple vaccinated. So why are you wearing the mask?
Triple vaccinated?
Seek out the scientists and listen to their advice.
Listen to scientists. Listen to the scientists.
Trust the experts.
We're going to trust science. We're going to trust the experts.
Parents who say, well, I need to do my own research. Makes you think of that cartoon I saw of the tombstone that said, I did my own research.
Republicans have given their voters license to believe whatever they want to believe.
Heard somebody saying, listen to the scientists, do that.
Let's listen to the scientists.
Listen to the scientists. And what they mean, let's be very clear. Can we be very clear what they mean when they say listen to the scientists? They say listen to what we actually tell you. Listen to the people that we tell you is that you should listen to. Because there were many scientists who were saying the exact opposite of what these big media, corporate, and such people you should trust should say. There are many scientists that were telling you that COVID is nothing more than it's going to be just like a regular flu. And it turns out 4 years later, they're treating it just like a flu. My God. There were people telling us there were people telling us last year that those stupid vaccines are actually dangerous for you. But they say, no, trust the science. Don't do the research yourself. Trust the scientists. Don't do what you want to do. Believe us. You don't know crap. That's what they told you. They made you believe that. And they made you feel bad for wanting to believe which one. They made you feel bad because you didn't want to go out with 14 masks on. He said you're a threat. That's what they told you years ago. These are the same people that are trying to tell you that told you 3 weeks ago that the president was in sharpest attack. He's the sharpest they've ever seen. Joe Scarborough of Morning Joe said, oh, this is the strongest, the best version of President Biden we've ever seen. This was 3 weeks ago. And then they switch and tell you, oh, he's done. Oh, he's done. You can't believe it. Like, oh, he's done. We need to find somebody else. How, Sway? How? This ain't right. But I'm gonna make you mad anymore because this is what they did to us. This is what they did to you, and these people are traitorous, in my opinion, and they deserve just a whiff of hell. I'm not trying to send people to hell because only Jesus can do that. But for them trying to violate your rights and your consciousness as a free individual, I think they should get a whiff. Maybe just like a second or two, would be great, in my opinion.
That phrase, do your own research, it's popping up a lot in conversations about coronavirus and about COVID vaccines. Doing your own research, it seems so innocent, but it can have serious consequences.
These people, and I hate to stop, but these people literally told you not to do your own research. Now, who were the people telling you this? These were primarily left-wing, liberal, Democrat-based media companies, the same people that are telling you all the lies and propping you up and giving you gaslit information about President Biden's health. And also the same people that are telling you and trying to make you think that former President Trump is the worst man possible, that he's Hitler reincarnated, that he's going to send black people back into slavery, that everything that President Trump says is racist, homophobic, xenophobic, and every type of negative phobia that you could have. It's those people. And listen, I'm not necessarily here saying like, oh, President Trump's the greatest, he's the saint. I'm not even saying that. But what I am saying is look at the source. These are the people who told you what you can believe or not. You believe them more than you believe your pastor. Oops. Now, I didn't get involved in that debate because I know people have things, because you know why they put so much fear in you? They told you, oh, you're going to die. You can't, if you look somebody in the eye, you'll catch freaking COVID. Come on, man. They got you to put that crap in you. Excuse me. I'm sorry. According to your faith, be it unto you. But I'm just like, what the heck? Let's continue.
Hey, what are the roots of this phrase? I hear it around QAnon craziness.
Look at this. They're fighting because he's not masked. Because he's not masked. That's crazy.
If some jerk exposed my mother to COVID because they didn't want to wear a mask, I would want to kill them.
We can watch the experts, but we shouldn't be listening to Trump, a non-medical professional.
Well, the answer is listen to Bill Gates. Bill's right about a lot of things. And
the irony, they're saying don't listen to the president or anybody who's not us, but listen to Bill Gates, who's also a non-medical, but whatever. But let's go back. We saw a thing where they said if you're not wearing a mask, you give somebody COVID. Well, guess what? Studies came out that those masks don't do nothing anyways. Oops. 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 But what they make you think? You put 2, 3, 4 masks on, you'll be all right. This is what they did to you. These people put all that fear in you, make you think if you step outside. I knew some people that didn't eat food for they bought groceries and they let it sit for 4 or 5 days because of this foolishness, this nonsense, this pure gaslit information that they received from big media. They made you afraid. They told you, oh, you're going to die. You can't. And then they told you better get this vaccine. That's what they told you. You better get this vaccine. And then they said, if you get it, you'll never have to wear a mask, right?
The steep learning curve in global health.
And we're really seeing just how important it is to follow science.
Yes, exactly. And
follow science and this 9-year-old.
The idea that people are questioning the science behind the vaccine.
The science checks out. Even if you don't believe in the science, you think you're tough enough and you're healthy enough and you're young enough. The scientists were right all along. Eventually, the science catches up with you.
Are we doing more harm than good by questioning the science behind J&J?
Trust that vaccine.
Trust the experts.
Let me tell you something.
Listen to the medical.
Let me tell you something. These people told you that, hey, this thing is safe. But I know so many people, blood clots, strokes, cancerous things that happen because of these shots. And they told you not to question it. They told you not to. Now, again, according to your faith, if you thought it was best for you, I'm not trying to shame you at all. What I am telling you, though, is that many people took their cues from these people who aren't even real news sources. These are all propagandist people, and they all have issues. Can I tell you something? Now, I used to be afraid to say this, right? Because I was like, oh, I don't want to, I don't want to jinx myself. You know what? But truth be told, I don't even really care. Because my hope is in the Lord. I don't know about you. My hope is in the Lord. Some trust in chariots. Some trust in corporate media. Some trust in the Democrats. Some trust in President Trump. But as for me, my trust is in the Lord. And let me tell you something about this trust that I have. I chose not to participate in the vaccination stuff because I didn't trust it, right? I'm like, this stuff, there's no test. It's rushed out. I didn't want to be exposed to something that they didn't have enough data on. That was my perspective, right? And I never once, I still preached. I went to church. We had church service, rode the trains, did public transportation. I never had COVID one time. Not one time. Not once. Now, I'm not saying this to brag. I'm not saying I'm some super special human being. I'm not even trying to say it's because my faith was so strong. I mean, I wasn't afraid, but at the same time, I never did none of that. And the crazy part is so many people who got vaccinated kept getting COVID over and over again. How is that? I live in New York City. Flew on planes during COVID. Yeah, I'm saying I was doing it all. Now, granted, I wasn't taking I wasn't being stupid. I wasn't like, just out here all up in people's faces. But the point I'm trying to tell you is, though, it's like, were you gaslit or nah? Shall we continue this? I am, because I'm going to get on your nerves today. Because the point I'm trying to make is when we look at what's happened, how these companies, these media companies are putting crap down your throat and making you not believe what you know is right, but only believe what they say. Believe the science. Well, how about the scientists? The scientists that actually did say that, that certain things worked, certain materials worked. Anything President Trump said, they said, no, we can't trust it. Ivermectin, and other stuff that I don't recall, and they're too long for me to remember. They go, oh, no, Trump said it. No, bleach. Oh, he wants you to bleach. No. How about whatever, a lot of that stuff that President Trump said at the time that these same companies told you was stupid, it was dumb. How about 4 years later, like this stuff actually does work? I think one was a horse, something about horse. I think it's ivermectin. It actually is beneficial. But they wouldn't tell you that then because the scientists say, trust the scientists. Trust the scientists. Let me tell you what 1 Chronicles 20:20 says. It says, believe the Lord your God, and so shall you be established. Believe his prophets, so shall you prosper. I'm trying to tell you, y'all believe these scientists more than you believe your prophets. And if we're going to be kingdom people, we can't base off of what these corrupt, non-morally bound, non-kingdom people tell us how we should live our lives. They made you forget your faith and trust in Fauci, trust in these scientists more than you believe God. Some of y'all refuse to go to church to gather because of the fear these people put in you. Some churches are still not open because of the fear placed in by these corrupt, demonic organizations and people. I know you mad at me. It's okay. You'll forgive me afterwards, right?
Experts. If you don't understand the science, you don't know what you're fighting.
Just let the experts speak. So maybe you right now.
You don't want to take advice from your golf buddy or from your aunt. You want to listen to the scientists.
Listen to us.
I need to do my own research.
You see the ultimate effects of what happens when you don't listen to the scientists.
This isn't about being scared. This is about scaring us straight.
Science,
scaring you
science,
straight.
and science.
Okay,
Only
Pelosi.
Listen to the scientists.
Only listen to
follow
our
science.
scientists.
Imagine. Instead of staying locked up in their rooms, they're able to hug their grandchildren. This isn't about freedom. It's about freedom for your neighbors.
It's not about your freedom.
As long as everyone is fully vaccinated.
Listen to the scientists like the rest of us.
We have to listen to the scientists. We'll listen to the scientists.
Every scientist, every expert, listen to the experts.
Listen to the science because the science works.
Very much.
Yeah.
Man.
I think trust science.
Man, you know, I don't mean to make fun of people, but I'm just making fun of the fact that they had us in a chokehold. They had y'all in a chokehold. So many people just changed life. But here's the point. I did this to you to remind you that gaslighting is real, that you have been indoctrinated to believe everything these people say. They told you not to think for yourself. They conditioned you to trust their word in spite of your own cognition, in spite of your own understanding, in spite of what you actually see with your own eyes. Could it be that they're doing the same thing in this election? Could it be that more gaslight? This is the theme song. Gaslight. I know, man. I know somebody like, I'll never watch this again. How dare he? I know somebody who died from COVID. I think I know somebody who died because they took the vaccine and it destroyed them. And they ended up getting strokes, multiple strokes, developing cancer. I think I know why. Probably double vax too. But hey, they call it COVID. They call it vaccine injury, believe it or not. But that's another story. Again, according to your faith, I'm not trying to shame anybody. If you feel like that was best for you and your family, you know, God bless you according to your faith. What I am saying is, though, they told you not to research it, though. They told you to your face, don't do your own research. And it's the crazy part. It's the same people telling you that if you don't vote our way, democracy's going to end. Oh, this is the end of democracy. Oh my God. Oh, well, we got to save democracy because if you don't listen to us and vote for how we tell you to vote, democracy is over. The same way they told you that the world was ending, that you would die if you step foot out of your house. You know, there are people that are still to this day. A lot of them have a particular demographic and a stereotype, but they won't go out of their house to this day. There's inside their home, they're double masks. They wear the mask in their vehicles. I'm talking about in their private vehicles. And it's crazy to me, if you ask me. I think it's crazy, but because of these people, you know, because of these people. And these are the same people. Here's the point. They're telling you that democracy is at stake. How many times have you heard that? Oh, this democracy is on the line for this election. How many times have you seen that on TV? How many advertisements where Democrats are telling you, you got to vote because if you don't vote, democracy is on the line? How many times have they tried to tell you that President Trump is going to be a dictator? He's Hitler. He's Mussolini. He's the devil incarnate. He's going to come and he's going to erase the Constitution and the government won't be anything. How many times have they told you that? Who told you that? Oh, it's the same people that told me that I had to get vaccinated or I was going to die. It's the same people that told me and pushed these things, these lies that said, hey, if you don't get it, then you're harming people. The same people. The same people who told you that are the same ones telling you that, oh, this man is bad, this man is racist. You can't tell me one racist thing this man has said other than what they screw up and chop. Like, oh no, Donald Trump is racist because he said that he's Name one policy President Trump did that was racist. Name one. Name one. Oh, that's right. You can't. Name one policy he advocated for that was racist. You can't. But they've made black people think that Trump is our enemy. How? Can I give this to you? I don't know. This is what your president said.
No bigger than this quarter.
You might remember this. I don't know if you remember this, but let's run the tape.
A piece of crack cocaine.
Then Senator
No bigger than this quarter that I'm holding in my hand. 1/4 of $1. We passed a law through the leadership of Senator Thurmond and myself and others. A law that says if you're caught with that, you go to jail for 5 years. You get no probation. You get nothing other than 5 years in jail. Judge doesn't have a choice. Under our forfeiture statutes, the government can take everything you own. Everything from your car to your house, your bank account, not merely what they confiscate in terms of the dollars from the transaction that you just got caught engaging in. They can take everything. I don't care why they become a sociopath. We have an obligation to cordon them off from the rest of society. They are in jail. Away from my mother, your husband, our families. So I don't want to ask what made them do this. They must be taken off the street.
Joe Biden did it. Now again, we're not advocating crack cocaine here at all. But think about it. Joe Biden is one of the architects of the crime bill of 1994. The same crime bill that then First Lady Hillary Rodham Clinton said was to help get the super predators, the Negroes, the black people, the thugs, the criminals off the streets. I'm just saying, wow. I'm saying, wow. That might be racist because it could have been targeted. I don't know. But that's definitely not right. Only one of them has had dinner and did a eulogy for a Ku Klux Klan leader, which was President Joe Biden. But he's not racist. Trump is. Trump is racist because that's what they told you. Gas light. Again, I'm just trying to open our eyes. Black people, Negroes, my brothers and sisters. I'm telling you this because they've made you. Now, again, these people are telling you that. Now, let me pull up one. Now, I'm freestyling right now. I got an order, but I'm deciding to darn with the order, And again, and this is interesting because so much of what we're going to talk about today, well, not really so much, but the idea behind a lot of what we're talking about is democracy. And one of the lies and things that you've been gaslit about is that democracy is at stake. Well, first of all, I want to just refresh your memory one more again about democracy and what democracy is. If you will, let us look to the definition. Again, it is a system of government where all the eligible members of a state, or aka a nation, typically through an elected representative. It's a state governed by democracy, control of an organization or group as members, the practice of principles of social equality. All right, now here's what's interesting about all this, fam, is because when you talk about democracy and when you think about ours, we live in a constitutional republic, all right? So we really don't have a true total democracy. We have something that's better because democracy is just majority rules and nothing else matters. And that could pose some challenges. So shout out to the framers of our Constitution who, who had the foresight to not let the populace decide what's best for a whole nation, when a whole nation, should be able to have its voice equally heard. But that's a whole nother story. I won't get into history about that because you don't want to hear that. You don't want to hear that. You want me just to bash and to punch down on the libs, which is a hobby of mine, and my sister will tell you, but I love the liberals. I live amongst them. Anyways, democracy. So when you talk about our nation, our democracy, if to say democracy is over is such a gaslight, because think about that. How would voting for President Trump end democracy? How would him winning end democracy? I want you just to think about it. Like, how would it disrupt the system of government where the population of eligible members of a system of government by the whole population, or the eligible members, are represented through elected representatives? How would that end? I want you to tell me. Or is it gaslight? Or is it gaslight? You've been gaslit. It's crazy. Democracy is going to die. If he gets the vote, democracy as we know is going to end. But you know what's even more? Because see, this shows you, because when you're gaslit, you don't even think. And a lot of us don't have a full understanding of the beauty of our government and its formation, of how the framers and the founders, the founding fathers, I know you can't say anything pro-masculine because we're so freaking feminized, but the founding fathers, thank God for the founding mothers too, holding it down. But the founding fathers set it up to where you can't have a king because they literally rebelled under a monarchy because the king was making decisions that were inconsiderate in their minds of the American colonies. All right. Now, even beyond that, like, we have 3 branches of government, just in case you did not know. The executive branch, which most of us are familiar with, the legislative branch, which is Congress, composed of the House of Representatives and the Senate. And then we have the third branch, which is the judicial branch, which is composed of the Supreme Court. And all 3 of those work together to provide what is known as checks and balances. So one particular branch cannot hold all the power or levy more influence than it should. And we see it in play right now. Because Congress, although they create the legislation, it is the president who actually signs off to make the executive affirmation of said laws by Congress. And if those laws happen to be unconstitutional, then it can be taken to the Supreme Court, where the Supreme Court can determine whether or not something follows the Constitution or if it violates the Constitution. Now, this is all so that everything can be protected. But these freaking manipulators and gaslighters on big media, they're trying to make you think that, oh my God, if this man gets in office, the world will crumble. But it's a lie. Democracy is not going to end. You are still going to be able to vote. And guess what? In 2 more years, you'll be able to vote for your congressman or woman. Possibly for your senator, because they have a 6-year term, whereas president has 4-year terms and the Congress House of Representatives have 2-year terms, and Supreme Court justice are lifetime. But you can vote. You'll still be able to vote. Who told you? Why is your vote going to just disappear if President Trump gets in office? Why will you not be able to have a say if President Trump gets in office? I'm not telling you to vote for him. I'm trying to tell you why are you listening to these people? Who are these people? Oh, I'm glad you asked. Oh, I'm just getting warmed up tonight. We're having a good time tonight. I know they're gonna hate me for this, but I'm used to it. Check it out. These people. Why does it do that? Oh, that's what you got to do.
Let me know when you guys are finished fighting amongst
Here is the Honorable Joy Reid of MSNBC.
Y'all just tell me who the nominee is going to be. Let me know when you guys are finished fighting amongst yourselves who I got to vote for in November to keep Hitler out the White House. That's all I'm
Hitler!
Who I got to vote for to keep Hitler out the White House. Y'all do your thing. Play in traffic all you want in front of these Republicans, acting a fool in front of these people instead of privately declaring your stuff. But don't text me no more, because I'm not taking no more of these texts.
She said, don't text her.
Just let me know when you guys are finished figuring it out, Democrats, because I know y'all the freak out people. Go ahead and freak out, have your conversation, and then let me know who I got to vote for to keep Hitler out the White House. That's it.
Hitler.
Oh, and by the way, if it's Biden in a coma, I'm going to vote for Biden in a coma. I don't even really particularly like the guy. A lot of his policies, don't like him. He's not Donald Trump, right? Yeah. Hitler, White House. We keeping him out. Keeping Project 2025 out. That's all I care about.
Project 2025. Uh-oh.
School board, all the way up to White House and everything in between. Governors, members of Congress. I'm just going to vote all the way down to keep these people out. The Project 2025 thing is the whole Republican Party. At this point, it's not about Biden. It is not about him. It's above me now. There's a Best Western next door. It is about keeping Donald Trump
keep Hitler
and his Project 2025 friends out of power.
Project 2025.
Y'all let me know what you think.
And Lord. Oh, we got more.
You guys do know that in 2020, y'all Democrats had choices of young people. You had a young LGBTQ guy, Mayor Pete. You had a Latino.
You
had Kamala
the gay
Harris.
guy, respectfully.
You had Liz Warren. You had all.
Nobody wanted Kamala.
All younger than Biden, fresher and newer than Biden. And you know who y'all picked to be the president and the nominee? Joe Biden.
Yeah, that's right.
He beat all the young people. So yes, we have a gerontocracy problem on the Democratic side.
Gerontocracy. She says she don't like old people.
That don't seem to want to sit down and retire. But when given the choice between the young and fresh and Joe Biden, y'all picked Joe Biden. That was what you picked. So he's in there because Democrats actually picked him in the first place. So just keep that in mind, that you've been given options in the past, and this is what you picked. And nobody stepped up to choose to run against him in the primary. So once again, Democrats went out and voted and picked.
They voted for him.
Oh my! That choice, like 57 million some odd Democrats voted in these primaries. So what are you going to do? You're going to just tell them, F off. We're going to pick somebody different.
That's what they're going to do.
That's not him.
That's what they're going to do.
Kamala Harris, who was on that ticket too, on those ballots.
That's what they're going to do.
That's not democracy.
Oh, no.
This choice has been made. And so again, unless he decides to walk away, this is your choice. It's like when you go to a wedding. You got chicken or fish. You can eat chicken or fish or just be hungry. Or like when I was growing up, in my house, it's what mom made for dinner or go to bed. There's your choices. You don't always get choices that you love. You get what mom made for dinner or take your ass to bed. And in this case, it's either what mom made for dinner or Hitler.
Hitler.
I'm voting for whoever ain't Hitler. And it ain't him. And I'm going all the way down that ballot, rooted to the Tudor school board up to the White House. This is about power and about picking not Hitler. That's it. That's it. That's me. Okay, now I'm really done. Bye.
My God. Come on. She says, democracy me harder, daddy. She said, don't pick Hitler is wild, yo. She said, don't pick Hitler is wild. You know what's crazy about this is that she made some good points on this, but then again, she made some really horrible points. Because the truth is, yeah, it was democracy. I told you this earlier, that in the primary, they picked, y'all voted for Joe Robinette Biden Jr. to be the Democratic nominee for president, right? But she said at the beginning, I want y'all just to tell me who to vote for. So there are these people, we would call them the elite, the power brokers in the parties, and the Republicans have these too, but it's about 500 to 1,000 people, a lot of people believe, that control these things. And so they're going to pick who they want. I don't know, because they don't think that President Biden is good enough. So they're scrambling, trying to figure out who can beat him and how they can do it so it actually works out well. This is interesting, family. This is interesting because democracy isn't tell me who to pick. Democracy isn't tell me who to vote for and I'll do it as long as it's not Hitler. So much wrong with this. But this is how they gaslight you. And then, of course, it's a black woman. Believe black woman. Believe black women. And oh my God, she's got short hair. She's rebellious. She must be feminist. She's for the women's empowerment, obviously, right? I mean, she's checkmarking everything. Again, educated woman, allegedly. She went to Harvard, I believe. I'm support, listen, go ahead. Do your thing. But she's part of this problem because she's telling you that President Trump is Hitler. Based on what? Based on what? Now, again, I don't care. I do care who you vote for. I'm not trying to tell you who to vote for. I'm trying to tell you, listen to how these people. Now, is this not the same thing that all the big media is telling you? Are they not telling you that he's horrible? Are they not telling you that, that they're making us black people think that he's an enemy to blacks? When literally his personal pastor is a black man. The Honorable Darrell Scott, Newsweek Revival Center, Cleveland Heights, whom I personally know. And I personally know he has a relationship with President Trump. But how would a racist do that? Why would a racist do that? And Pastor Darrell Scott is not a, he's a very strong, independent person. So what are we saying? What I'm telling you is that why are they making you think that Trump doesn't like black people? Like black people that he's an enemy. Oh, the same people that told you if you don't get this vaccine, you're going to die and you're killing my grandmother. You're killing my grandmother, Don Lemon said. Joy Reid is telling you, listen, I don't care. Give me a comatose Joe Biden rather than Hitler. I'm like, do y'all know Hitler actually killed people? Like, do y'all know Hitler actually took over Europe and the whole world was afraid that this guy, he was this close to world domination? Are you kidding me? But again, they're gaslighting you. They're making you think that. And again, I care who you vote for, but it's not my job to tell you to vote for. I just want you to be open-eyed. Like, I just don't like him. I just don't like him. He's just disrespectful. He's just mean. He's just blah, blah, blah. I'm just like, okay. Okay. But that's another story. I think I should change subjects. Y'all tired of me talking about this. Joy Reid wants democracy. Democracy says she hit it on the head. That you voted, you get it. That's what democracy is. If you vote for something and you deal with it. Guess what? Everybody who didn't vote for President Biden, guess what they had to deal with? 4 years of President Biden. Those who didn't vote for President Trump, guess what they had to deal with? 4 years. New Yorkers, those who didn't vote for Mayor Eric Adams, guess what y'all have to deal with? I don't know if I voted for him or not. I don't remember. I probably did because I know people that know him. And he was black. I know I did it. Don't judge me. I did the because he's black vote. Gosh. But he's a centrist Democrat, so I kind of appreciate his perspective. And he's a former police officer, so I knew that he wouldn't be with the woke defunding the police crap. So there was a reason why I voted for him. But needless to say, moral of the story is this. New Yorkers, is that democracy says when their term is up, you can vote again. Democracy is not dying. Democracy is not going to be destroyed. But these manipulators are telling you that the same way they told you that if you step outside your home, that you will catch COVID. Same way they told you if you don't get a vaccine, that you're going to kill people. Same way. Same way. Same way. Same way. And they're telling you these lies. I mean, it's bold-faced lies. All right. Let me give you what they're teaching our kids in school. This was in Philadelphia recently, the teachers union. Shout out to teachers. First of all, let me say this. I love teachers. I love teachers. You know what? I am partially who I am because I was blessed to have incredible teachers in school. I'm so blessed. I had probably, in my opinion, the world's greatest kindergarten teacher. The Honorable Mrs. Parks, who's passed away. She was great. She was incredible. Loving, kind, supportive. She was great. First grade, I had the Honorable Mrs. Glass. Miss Glass. I don't know if she was Mrs. She might have been Mrs. Second grade, the Honorable Miss Bretzfelder, whom I had her daughter in 7th grade, ironically, as a teacher. My God. Also, 3rd grade, Mrs. Finsky, the Honorable Mrs. Finsky. 4th grade, the Honorable Miss Carroll / Miss Hardy, which I think she has been remarried, so I don't know her current last name. But she was great. 5th grade, the Honorable Mrs. Busey, who I recently reconnected with. Man, I had great teachers. Great teachers. 6th grade was a different year. 6th grade was different. 7th grade, though, back to Mrs. Bretzfelder. 8th grade, shout out to the Honorable Miss Penny Pletikapek. Litchfield, stand up. High school continues, of course, but the standout teacher for me was the Honorable Jill Schweitzer. I had great teachers. I didn't have a lot of male teachers, unfortunately, but neither here nor there. Anyways, enough about me. All right. Point I'm trying to make is that I love teachers. Okay, so what I'm about to show you is not my thing against teachers. And shout out to my son's teachers. Shout out to them, and particularly to one of the teachers whom I have a different relationship with. She's an incredible woman, one of my friend's wife, and she helps keep my son in tabs, help me keep tabs on my kid. Amen. And so I love teachers, man. I love teachers. So, but these women are weird. Here's what they're saying in the Philadelphia at the National Educators Association, aka the Teachers Union. Let's check this out.
Delegates, we can do this work. We must do this work. We get to do this work. We will do this work because our students are depending on us to win all the things.
All the things.
We have to win all the things. All the things. All the things. Our colleagues are depending on us to win all the things. Keep going, NEA. To preserve our democracy, we must win all the
Preserving
things.
Democracy.
Delegates, we won't go
These are
back.
teachers.
We will keep going forward because we are the NEA. We are the NEA. We are the NEA. And that's what we do.
And that's the bottom line, because Stone Cold said so. I felt like she was about to hit us with the Stone Cold, thingamajig, Shout out to Becky Pringle. I'm assuming she's a very elite and established woman. I know I'm not allowed to talk about black women and make commentary because, you get canceled for that. But truth is this. What in the absolute heck are they talking about? All the things? Now, granted, you can't take a clip and just base somebody's clip, their whole agenda off of a clip. But here's what I do know is that this teachers union is something else. I do know that they got a stranglehold on education, on public education. I do know that much. I do know there's benefits of being in the teachers union, but I also know that they also have a stranglehold and make it difficult on many ways for, decisions and things to happen, particularly from an administrative versus an educator's perspective. So it's a weird thing going on here, but I wanted to focus in on the language. She says we have responsibility to our students. I say, no, you don't. You don't have no responsibility to them kids. You have a responsibility to the parents. These are not your kids. And this is the problem with a lot of these woke people, these Marxist, communist people. They think these kids are theirs. They think your children, your grandchildren, your nieces and nephews belong to them. That for them to indoctrinate and to tell them what's right or wrong, that is not your job. Now, shout out to the teachers that actually know that and actually don't that just actually teach, not try to indoctrinate. But it's talk like this and from these people, and I've seen it all summer, all winter, last year, of these teachers, particularly these people that are heavy on LGBTQ stuff. They're pushing their agenda. They're creating clubs that they don't tell the parents about so their kids can be comfortable being who they really are. And they say stuff like, our kids. That's what these teachers say. Our kids. No, you don't have responsibility to kids. Teachers have responsibility to the parents. Now, again, I love teachers, and I love it when they do the job right. I'm a product of public education, and teachers, I was blessed with amazing teachers that I don't think I don't know because I was too young, but I don't think they put foolishness on me. They didn't talk about elections back in my day, when I was growing up. They didn't talk about elections. They didn't tell you who was wrong or who was right. They left that to the parents. They didn't teach me about sex. They didn't tell me that, if I feel like a girl, I should just accept it and maybe that's who they didn't tell me that. I never felt that way, but they didn't push that on me. These teachers these days, a lot of them, they're on an agenda. We had boring books. Now you get sex books in some of these schools. Some of these teachers, they want all the things. Is that what you want? More sex books, more books that explain and illustrate gay sex to my 6th grade son? Get the heck out of here. You can't have nothing. You want all the things? You can't have them. You can't have them, ma'am. I don't know. You can't have everything. You can't have everything. And that might not be her, but I'm saying these teachers hide under this union and you can't fire them. You can't do stuff because they're connected to this union, this all-powerful, mighty union. They want all the things. I mean, she was preaching. My God. Listen, I want teachers to be able to teach well. But these are not your kids. Your responsibility is to the parents. We have given teachers a sacred trust not to harm our children, to create a bedrock and a platform for them to build upon the things that we teach them, not to disarm or to disavow or to destroy what we teach them as parents, or the mindset that we indoctrinate them with. Oh yeah, I believe in indoctrinating a kid. I try to indoctrinate my son all the time. With righteousness, of course, with good things. Absolutely. But the teacher's job, our kids, those are not your kids. Your parents. That's what she should have said. I just felt away as a father of a student. I felt away that y'all feel like them are your kids, but not your kids. But then she said, we have to preserve democracy. I'm like, oh my God, here we go. Here we go. Is what you telling my kid, that democracy is at stake? Why not? One time for the get down. Gaslight. And these people believe it. You say, and these are your teachers. They've taken, and this is an educator. I'm assuming they say she's the president. I don't know her role, but she's talking. They all behind her. She's preaching, man. She's telling it like it is. And she's telling us preserving democracy. Like what? I can't get with it. I can't go for that. I can't go for that. Oh gosh, man, they gonna be mad at me. It's all good. They want all the things. We want all the things. And listen, I think they have a very difficult job. And you know why? Because part of the blame is the parents, particularly in certain communities, is because parents aren't parenting. We want the teachers to do stuff. You know what? And I also hate when I hear stuff like, they should teach in school. It's like, no, I don't want the school teaching my kids about taxing. The school don't need to teach my kids about stuff that I should be teaching them about. Like, what is the parent supposed to teach a kid these days? We put it all in the schools. They should teach in schools about how to make money. No, your parents should do that. The parents should do that. I want you to help teach my kid how to properly enhance his thought processes, give him a basis for things, But I don't want you to teach my kid about stuff that I can teach him. You feel me? My God, man. These people, man. But again, it's the parents. We got to step up. We got to do our job. We got to make sure that we're parenting. We got to make sure that we are imparting to our kids. Like, do we read with our kids? Do we teach our kids mindset stuff? Or are we expecting teachers? I want you to teach my kid about history. Give him the boring stuff. Challenge his thought processes. Challenge his strategic thinking. You let me do the indoctrination. You let me do the planting values and systems for him. Because my son is a kingdom man. And these public schools, they don't know kingdom. They don't teach kingdom. My God, you let me handle that part. You understand? Anyways. Oh, man. I got one more. I got one more clip today that I think I want to do. I just don't know if I should do it. Because y'all tired of me. Should I do it? Yeah. We're going to take a trip to the Midwest. We're taking a trip to the Midwest here. We're going to the Midwest. Now, we've already discovered that, again, and this is what it was crazy part before we go to this next clip is to talk about, like, this next segment is to think about, like, how, again, at this highest level, these people are saying democracy, preserving democracy. And what they're really saying is that's their way of saying for our way of doing it. How is it that if your guy wins, democracy is preserved, but if my guy wins, democracy is decayed? And I just want us to think critically. And I want us to not be moved by big emotions, big media, big worm, big perm, whoever, whatever. All right. Let's talk about racism. How about that? I love to talk about racism and critical thinking. Again, now I also think that the church, the kingdom perspective, again, I have a love-hate relationship with liberals and wokeism, right? Because I think that it is hyperbolic, number one, and number two, which is probably greater than number one for me, is that the idea, the root of this woke concept culture, this super black identification and quote unquote progressive blackism, if I could say it as that, is rooted in Marxist communism and in Marxist communist thought. And so that's hard for a lot of people to not understand, but we don't know it. And so they are conditioning us to talk a certain way, us versus them. Oppressed versus the oppressor, which was basically code word for the bourgeois versus the proletariat or the working class. You'll even hear in a lot of the Democratic Socialists of America, which makes no sense to me, AOC, the Squad, and their type, they talk a lot about the working class. The working class. Those are communist code words, Marxist code words. The working class. Right? It's the working class versus the rich, aka the bourgeois versus the proletariat versus the commoners. The owners versus the non-owners. This is Marxism 101. And Marxism is horrible because it is communism. It is anti-God. It is anti-democracy. Literally, not like the gaslighting anti-democracy. It's anti-freedom. Did I say it's anti-Christ? And this is the purge, and this is what is destroying our nation. And unfortunately, the black experience and the black plight has been used as a Trojan horse for Marxist communism. Because shoot, slavery was so bad, heck yeah, you can't ever disagree with it. And I've said this for years, and I think I'm one of the first people to ever say this out loud publicly, is that the wicked agendas that happen in our nation are often put on the back of the black experience. I could literally prove this to you in the most shocking way right now. That whenever something anti-God, something unnatural wants to occur, they're going to say the black and brown experience. When it comes to decriminalizing drugs, It's just because of black people. They're inadequately and disproportionately impacted. When it comes to like common sense arresting and policing, well, we're not going to have bail. We're not going to, have a bail system. We're going to release people who are obvious criminals, who are repeat offenders. We're going to do it because it disproportionately impacts black and brown people of color. And what kind of sense does it make? That's why our streets, particularly here in New York and other big metropolitan places, are so dangerous at times, because the cops can't take the bad people off the streets because of racism. So now we have lawlessness. All a cop can listen, if somebody robs your bodega, right, and you actually defend yourself and shoot that person, guess who's going to jail? You. If you attack that person who's robbing your store, guess who's going to prison? You. Guess who's getting scot-free? The criminal. A lot of these rules from these DAs, who they say Soros-backed DAs, they are pushing agendas that are disrupting our nation, making things less safe, implementing a communist Marxist perspective. Now, these words might scare some of y'all. They make me like, oh God, what is Marxism? What is communism? He's talking nonsense. Give me Bible. No, I'm telling you that the biggest threat to our nation and to the church is Marxism. Marxist communism. I'm telling you this. Trust me. Come on. Trust me. Come on, people. Trust me. My God. Trust me. Here's let me give you this. I'm going to give you this, and I don't really often do this, but I'm doing this tonight because it's a fact, and you need to hear what I'm telling you, and I want you to believe me, and hopefully you can trust my integrity as a man of God. Let me tell you what I sense in the Holy Ghost. Number one, let me tell you this, what the Bible says, 2 Chronicles 20:20. They rose early in the morning and went out of the wilderness of Tekoa, and they went out. Jehoshaphat stood and said, listen to me, O Judah, inhabitants of Jerusalem. Put your trust in the Lord your God, and you will be established. Put your trust in his prophets and succeed. Let me tell you this emphatically. I am a prophetic voice to this generation, and I'm telling you right now, as a prophet, as a man of God, that Marxism is the greatest threat to our nation and to the perpetuation of the gospel in our nation. Now, granted, the gates of hell cannot prevail against the kingdom of God. I believe that wholeheartedly. However, I also believe in the fact that when the righteous are in rule, the people rejoice. When the wicked are in rule, it's a reproach to all men. The nation is destroyed. This is Bible facts. And I'm thinking about my son and my other forthcoming children. Whenever they come, whenever Mrs. Wright, says I do, I will. Right? I'm thinking about my grandchildren. I'm thinking about our church. I'm thinking about our other churches that we have all across this nation. I'm thinking about our ability to do the work of the Lord in peace and quiet. As Paul told us, we should pray for the rulers. But communism, Marxism, is going to destroy that. You know why? Oh my God. You know why we don't know what a woman is? It's because of the root of this communist Marxist thought. It's seed that disrupts, that makes facts questionable. So they can bring destabilization to our nation, to bring it down. Now, I'm saying they because there is a real they. And again, this may scare some people, but I'm telling you this as a prophet. I'm not saying this for you to support a particular party. I'm telling you what's happened, what's occurred since the early 1900s. This is a plan that's been in place. It's been going on since before your parents and before my grandparents were born. And it's slowly crept in our education systems. It's in our churches, particularly black churches. You don't believe me? This is what liberation theology is. Liberation theology is just Marxism thought put over the filter of scripture. Oppressors versus the oppressed. Jesus is for the oppressors, for the oppressed, not the oppressors. That's literally him taking James Cone, taking Marxist communist sentiments and placing them in a religious perspective. Again, but we don't know this. So we just think it sounds good. Because when your pastor comes to talk about the black experience and how black people this, black people that, and the struggle and how, you know, whatever, it feels good. It feels good in the flesh, but it's a trap. And all these people, liberation theologists, all these so-called black experts in the pulpit, they don't even preach Jesus no more because the Jesus of the Bible is in conflict with the Jesus of their oppressive construct. That's why I don't rock with BLM. That's why BLM is demonic, because they clearly say in their about that we are a Marxist-trained organization. And here you are, all these pastors and so-called prophets speaking truth to power, saying like, oh, you know, I'm the prophet of God. You're a shield to current events, and you are subjected and you have bowed down to the idolatry of your skin color instead of standing firm on the truth of God. Listen, I don't care what you do privately. Now I get intense about this because not only am I a prophet, I'm also an apostolic voice. But check this out, that you can't be in God's house promoting a system that is anti-God, that is anti-nuclear family, and you represent God. God is not in that. But you got it plastered on your building. You got signs and video footage and graphics on Sunday morning. I'm sorry, I get it. I have preachers in mind when I say this, and they're saying foolishness. BLM, Black Lives Matters, is a demonic organization with wicked intentions, ran by 3 lesbian women, formerly, I don't know if it still is, but at the height of 2020, it's founded by 3 lesbian women, and nothing against lesbians. Shout out to all the lesbians. That sounds weird coming from a pastor, but I really mean that. I don't have any hate or phobia or hatred for, you know, people who same gender loving. But I'm telling you that the BLM is based on a system that wants to disrupt the natural family unit. They want to bring Marxist trained stuff. They want to bring disruption. They want to bring LGBTQ foolishness. They want your kids, they want your sons to think they're girls and wear dresses and to question their gender and to mutilate their bodies. Because what? You won't know what's true. How can we know? Listen, if you tell me a man is a woman, then I have to agree with that. What? And this is, again, nothing against the trans. Shout out to the trans. I have no hate for the transgender people. Do you? Listen. Do you, boo, bruh, sis, sir, ma'am? But when I tell you that the fact that we are questioning in 2024, even some of our Supreme Court justices, they refuse to define what a male or a female is. This makes no sense. You know why? It all stems back to a communist Marxist approach and route to destabilize our nation. Because guess what? If we corrupt the kids, if we make them crazy, we make them think wrong is right and right is wrong, then that means they'll vote for anything. They'll believe anything. Oh yeah, you tell them that democracy's at stake now, they're like, oh yeah, we believe it. Anyways, well, let me prove to you, I went on a long rant there. I apologize. But people are like, oh, you ain't black. And I'm super black. I'm black and I'm proud. I love my blackness. I'm grateful that God made me a black man. Glory. Matter of fact, tonight I'm about to watch Malcolm X tonight again. I love blackness. I love my blackness. I'm proud to be a black man in America. Are you kidding me? But I don't think black. I think kingdom. Bible tells us be transformed by the renewing of your mind, so you can prove what the will of God is, that which is good, acceptable, and perfect. Here you are, forcing yourself to think like these people who are anti-God. Let me tell you how wicked it is. Remember I told you that all these wicked agendas use blackness and the black plight as their thing? Again, same-sex marriage or transgender. They said, oh, black people, black transgenders are the ones most likely to be murdered. So we got to pass these bills to help push the transgender movement forward because black people are being killed. That's what they said. Same-sex marriage, gay stuff, transgender. Again, digging a lot on the LGBTQ stuff, but let's just put that to the side. Education, right? Disparities. It's because of black stuff. It's because of black issues. Because of racism. Now, I'm going to show you something. This is something that's happening in California. Now, California is screwed up in many ways. It's like the home of all the stupid ideas that these Marxist, communist, liberal, this is what I have a challenge with liberals, and I try not to let it show. Because it's just so wild, man. It's just like, what the heck? Bring back the days of yeah and nay. You know? But anyways, Senate Bill 1414, also known as SB 1414, is a bill where the Republican constituents of, or not the constituents, the Republican leaders in the California State Assembly are trying to make a law, particularly that will criminalize and make a felony any person who tries to engage in lewd acts for, sex work for children. I mean, it's just straight up what it is, right? This is SB 1414, all right? And here's the thing. There are people who oppose it because they call it racist, and I'm not kidding you. I'm going to show you the tape so you can believe the prophet and listen to what I'm trying to tell you. Play the tape, my friend.
We believe that SB 1414 takes an overly punitive approach that fails to address the root causes of these issues and will not effectively stop sexual violence. We are particularly concerned that the harsher
penalties. Now, I'm going to be very clear here. We're talking about child sex workers, which is illegal, right? Child prostitution. This is a law that will make any person who solicits sex from a minor, it would make them automatically a felony, because in California they have what they call wobble laws. So it's not always, it could be a misdemeanor, and which is crazy to think, but whatever. And it will give them harsher punishments because they're trying to stop child trafficking, which makes sense, right? You would say, well, who would stop that? Who would dare want to change that? Well, the liberals, because of course, because of racism, we can't really do this. I'm going to go back to this because it's just, I get worked up thinking about this stuff because I'm like, who are these people and who gave them a microphone?
Will disproportionately impact marginalized communities, especially members of the LGBTQ community, who already suffer from systematic biases within the criminal justice system.
Wait a minute. And I just want you to hear what they said. Now, again, these are the smart people, right? The ones who tell you, believe us, believe what we say. They said, if you do this, now this is opposition to SB 1414. She's saying that it will disproportionately impact LGBTQ people. Well, then stop trying to buy sex from kids. I think it's that simple. Oh, you know why? Because the LGBTQ, they have one of their flag colors, bet you didn't know this, was for minor attracted persons. Because a lot of people in this liberal world of anything goes, they think minor attractedness is a real thing. They think it's a natural sexual expression. And so a lot of these men, unfortunately, probably primarily men, are, well, I don't know, probably definitely primarily men who are minor attracted, aka pedophiles. And they're even trying to make that word go away, so you can't even say that word. It's ridiculous. But a lot of these men who are gay men or sexually, on that LGBTQ, whatever, they're going after and they're trying to buy sex from kids. A lot of them boys, same sex. And Cicely's like, oh, it's going to disproportionately impact them. Well, you know what keep you from being disproportionately impacted? If you proportionately said, nah, I don't want to have sex. I don't want to buy a kid prostitute. Proportionately. If that was the major mindset out of the people who were criminally, all of the, watch my lane, the losers, who are out here trying to buy and engage in child prostitution. How about y'all just don't do it? That way you won't be disproportionately targeted. Because if you are proportionately not doing it, then they won't have anything to say. Unless you're talking about, you know, PWLGBTQ, which is prostitution in kids while LGBTQ, which is akin to driving while black. You know, who knows? Let's go back to the video. And they said marginalized communities, by the way.
Particularly when it comes to sexually based offenses. Studies have shown that LGBTQ people, particularly gay and transgendered individuals, are more likely to be charged with sex offenses compared to their heterosexual counterparts.
Men, gay men, and I'm saying this in all due respect. This lady is basically saying that gay men and transgender men, or men who think they're women, are probably the bigger the people who engage in this more. And so they're trying to make them seem like, well, this is going to, you know, disproportionately attack them. And I of course, profiling is wrong. I don't believe in profiling just because I'm a skin color. I don't think you should profile because of a person's sexuality. But then again, it's hard to know what a person's sexuality is, because that would mean we'd have to say, well, this person looks hella gay, so, you know, arrest him because he's probably doing child sex. You can't do that because you don't know what a gay person looks like. But I can't hide the blackness. You might be able to hide the gayness. I don't know. Let's go back to the tape.
More likely to be charged with sex offenses compared to sexual counterparts. For instance, LGBTQ individuals are 9 times more likely to be charged with sodomy. Measures like SB 1414 lead to higher rates of incarceration, longer sentences, and increased difficulty.
Wait a minute. And the reason why gay men are 9 times more times charged with sodomy is because I don't know how else to say this, but gay sex is sodomy by definition. I'm not trying to hinder. But think about the stupidity here. They're 9 times more to be charged with sodomy because, yeah, if you are a gay person and that's how you engage with your partner, male partner, then guess what? You will probably be charged with it more than a person who is a heterosexual man that doesn't do that. Now, again, this is not to shame LGBT people. I love y'all. I got people who I love that are very near and dear to my heart. So this is not a shame. Let's look at the foolishness. So we're talking about child sex trafficking and child prostitution. That's what's on the table right now. And they're saying because gay men are more likely to be charged with sodomy. Yeah, because they do it more. What is there hard to understand? And why are these people defending child sex predators, man? Jesus. Gosh, man.
In finding housing and employment.
Today, EBC must strongly oppose Senate Bill 1414. For the reasons I will state, we stand against any punitive measure that perpetuates systemic injustices, and we emphasize instead the need for community-based solutions. We strongly support investments in victim services and programs to provide housing and other alternatives to help people escape trafficking.
Wait a minute. Now they're saying take all this money that you could be spending for catching the criminals, the men who are the predominantly men who are trying to buy sex from kids who are sex slaves. So you know what? We shouldn't do this. We should focus on housing because that's going to help. Like, these people are insane in their logic. We're talking about children who are victims of sex trafficking. And they're saying we're opposed to this because the resources should be spent to help the victims. I'm like, here's how you help the victims. By making it an example that if you try to sleep with my kid, come on. Oh my gosh. You should bury under a jail. Jesus, man. I don't know. It just makes no sense. Why is this the thought? Like, Why is this a thing? My God, we're talking about children who are forced to engage in sexual acts as slaves by wicked and corrupt demonic people. And you have the audacity to say, no, I oppose this bill because it's too harsh. It's punitive. Like, no.
Concerned that the harsher penalties contained in this bill will disproportionately impact marginalized communities, particularly Black and brown individuals who already bear the brunt of systemic biases within our criminal justice system.
And there you have it. Let me rewind this so that you can believe the prophet.
Impacts marginalized communities, particularly Black and brown individuals who already bear the.
Let me go back even further.
That the harsher penalties contained in this bill will
Let's go back even further.
Programs to provide housing and other alternatives to help people escape trafficking. We are concerned that the harsher penalties contained in this bill will disproportionately impact marginalized communities, particularly Black and brown individuals who already bear the brunt of systemic biases within our criminal justice system.
Wow. Did you hear that with your own ears? See, I'm not trying to lie to you. She said, I'm not even going to make that joke. She said that this is because this is too punitive because this will disproportionately impact Black people who bear the brunt of biases and burdens. Now, I don't think sin has and I don't even want to go down this road because I don't even want to go down this road. But do you see how they're trying, how the reason why this bill to criminalize and to make felonious soliciting sex from a kid? Like, no, not like just randomly going on like a page and, a kid is like, hey, let's do this. No, like when you literally go and say, hey, I want to buy sex from a kid that is currently being prostituted by another human being. All right. They're saying we oppose this, the punitive nature. We oppose saying that it's an automatic felon with prison time, guaranteed prison time. We're opposed to that because it's going to disproportionately affect and it's punitive towards, and it's going to impact more Black people who bear the brunt of society. I'm like, why are you putting this foolishness on me and my people? I know, man. I know y'all might not like this. I know people are like, I don't know why I'm listening to this. This is what's happening. This is the kind of foolishness that they always do. I told you that most of the time, whenever they want to push a wicked agenda, they blame Black people. They say, "Oh, we can't do it because it's racist." Not punishing a person. I'm not talking about somebody that meets somebody and said, "You know what? I didn't know she was this young," right? Maybe you're a same-sex attracted person and you meet somebody on the street or at a party and they're there. They shouldn't be there. Like, I didn't know this person was that, and we engage in something. Hey, you know what? I'm not even talking about that, right? That's a whole different thing. We're talking about people who actually are soliciting sex from minors who are being prostituted. And she has the audacity to say, oh, we shouldn't make this a felony and give them automatic prison time because it will disproportionately impact Black people. Which is wild to me. And why do they need to bring that up? Oh, because anything that you say is racist, it's racism. We can't have racism. So yeah, maybe we should just let freaking pedophiles pay for sex with kids and not call it a felony because of racism. Because of racism. Oh, because the Black people have the brunt of the burden. Let me do this test real quick. I'm going to do something that I might get in trouble for. Well, let's just say all right. So here's what's crazy about this, right? Is that she said, her counterpart said that 9 out of 10 that LGBT people are 9 out of 10 times more likely to be targeted for paying for sex work from minors, for soliciting sex, like as prostitution from minors, right? That's what she said. 9 out of 10 LGBTQ, right? Okay. Now, of those 90, of those 9 times out of 10, right? Of the 100% of those people who are LGBTQ that actually are participating in it, that are LGBTQ, I'm not saying 100% do it. I'm saying of the people who engage in paying for sex from minors that are LGBTQ, only 12%, according to a 2019 census, 12% of those people are black. Crazy, man. Allegedly. Approximately 12%. Approximately 12%. And then another 21% is Hispanic. So that means 33%. Let's just say 33% black or brown. 66% of those people, according to a 2019 study, are white men. So 66% of the perpetrators are white. But yet, you know what? We need to make this not look like it's just a bunch of gay white men wanting to do something. So let's just say race because of racism. And they're blaming it. And they're trying to say, hey, we don't think this should happen because of racism, because the blacks are being disproportionately, done. Like what? They do this for everything. They do this for everything. Any wicked thing they want to do, let's try to find a way to put it on black and brown people. Black people, the struggle, the plight. And I just showed you how they did that in real time. This is recent. This is probably this month, in the last 7 days. How people are trying to say that a bill to make felonious buying sex from kids who are prostituted should not be a felony. It makes no sense to me. What kind of world is this that we're living in? And and these people are the ones same people telling you that a man is a woman is a man. These are the same people trying to tell you that, again, that everything is racist. Everything is they made you change. They stripped Aunt Jemima and Uncle Ben of their retail legacy because of racism. That's crazy. That's crazy. It's the same people who tell you that it's racist to ask for a vote for an ID when you vote because it's racist. Oh, because black people, oh God, black people can't remember to bring their ID. Last time I checked, in the hood, you need ID for purchasing liquor. And where I'm from, the liquor stores were always booming. No problem bringing ID to buy alcohol. But when it comes to voting, the Democrats are telling us, hey, it's racist to ask you for an ID to vote. Oh, black people don't have IDs. They can't remember to bring IDs. It's Jim Crow 2024. Come on, man. And I'm always going over. And I know people for King School get mad at me because I don't care. I don't care, man. You got to purchase medicine at certain pharmacies. You need ID, right? You need ID to go to the bank. You need ID. Oh, I got a graphic for that. Believe it or not. I got you. Don't worry. Be happy. I'm your mans. You need an ID to board a plane, to get a prescription, apply for a job, to cash a check, apply for food stamps, to drive, to get married, to adopt a pet, and to buy alcohol, but you don't need an ID to vote because voting is so racist. IDing somebody is so racist because you ignorant, dumb black people can't bring a freaking ID with you. That's what they think about you because you're probably too busy trying to buy sex from a minor, which you probably need an ID for. It's not funny, but that was kind of interesting. And we pray for all the children who are involved in that and who are stuck and who are trapped in that. And sex trafficking and a minor or even adults is horrific, and hearts are for it, for their release and for their freedom and dignity. Shout out to my friend Rebecca Charles, I forget her last name. But anyways, they apply all their wickedness to racism. And this is my last point. This is my last thing I was trying to build a segue to, but I got on a rant. Let's talk about Chicago. Shout out to Shimmy. Shim or Shimmy. I forget this guy's name. Anyways, Chicago. Let's see what they're doing in Chicago. Well, I'll tell you what happened over the weekend, the 4th of July. You know what that means. When the fireworks go up, you know the ignorance comes out. And this past 4th of July weekend, unfortunately, I believe there were over 100 people shot in Chicago, which is wild, man. And I hate to do this because that's all that, right-wing media does. They want to make a point, Chicago. And I hate that they do that. They try to make a point of just like, quote unquote, black failures and disappointments. They just point to Chicago. And like clockwork, every year, our friends and family in Chicago do not disappoint. 100 people shot, I think 18 fatally shot in Chicago. I mean, like, my God, what is going on in there? And it's sad, and it's mostly black on black crime. I know you're not allowed to say that. It's proximity crime because white people commit crimes against white people. Yeah, I get it, right? So you're right. Proximity crime, but black people killing black people. 100 people shot. And you know who you haven't seen on the scene? BLM. Where they at? If Black Lives Matters. They over there buying mansions and all kind of foolishness. Meanwhile, crime in Chicago is ridiculous. And what makes it even worse is now, again, they have a black mayor. Shout out to the former mayor, the Honorable Lori Lightfoot. Strong individual in that office. Then they got, and what makes it even worse, now they got a man. They got a man. And this man is a part of a particular church organization, which I'm very fond of and a part of. And this is not what I'm about. Now, he's not repping it per se, but they definitely showed him love. He definitely is tried and true. And I'm just like, what? And he's woke. And he's on that foolishness. And I don't know if he knows it, but he's on that freaking Marxist foolishness that makes you say stupid stuff like what he said in this interview pertaining to the quote unquote crime in Chicago. Let us begin.
So we line of boys between the ages of 10 and 19 being either victims or the perpetrators. So, yeah, it is personal. Black death has been unfortunately accepted in this country for a very long time. We had a chance 60 years ago to get at the root causes, and people mocked President Johnson. And we ended up with Richard Nixon. I'm going to work hard every day to transform this city. That's what it takes to build a better, stronger, safer Chicago. I need everybody to step up.
Oh, my God. Did this guy just say he blamed what happened in 2024, July 4th, 2024, on Richard Nixon's presidency and the rejection of the Great Society by the Honorable Lyndon Johnson, President Lyndon Johnson? He literally just said, what's happening today is a result of some things that happened 60 years ago? What? He blamed it on Richard Milhouse Nixon, former president, who's been dead since 1994, who resigned from office in the 70s. They're saying this guy, he's the reason. Richard Nixon. These men, these kids who I'm so passionate about, he says 10 to 19. These are 10 to 19 years old. Can you imagine 10-year-olds being caught up in this crap? And he's blaming it on Richard Nixon? Come on. See, this is the problem. This is what I'm telling you, that this Marxist foolish thought always deflects and it puts the blame on them. Oh, it's not because we've allowed this. It's not because black communities have been silent and have said literally nothing to the perpetuation of Black death culture. Our music glorifies it. The culture that these kids are into, the music that whoever is running the system is popularized, glorifies Black death, Black sexual irresponsibility, and Black ignorance. And they're saying, we're going to blame it on America. This is America's fault because America has been too comfortable. And it was Richard Nixon who stopped what Lyndon Johnson was doing, is the reason why these 100 people were shot in my city that I'm the mayor of this past weekend. Mind you, this mayor also refused to renew the shot detector that would locate where gunfire is happening. And so I think he didn't renew the contract. So now they're taking away all their, this advanced tools they have to help respond to, mass shootings. But they don't call it mass shooting. So I guarantee you they didn't call it mass shooting in Chicago. I guarantee you the left-wing media didn't do it. I guarantee you big media didn't do it. It's only mass shooting when a white person shoots black people or somebody shoots gay people. It's a mass shooting then. But when it's just Negroes, and I was going to say the other word, they don't care. They don't care. But then remember, the main point is this, though, is that it's President Nixon's fault. President Nixon, who was the 35th, 36th, 37th president. He was 10 presidents ago. That's wild, man. Reagan had 2 terms. W. Bush had 2 terms. Clinton had 2 terms. Obama had 2 terms. So we're not talking about just 4. We're talking about some of these people had 8. That was 10 presidents ago. And he's blaming what's happening today. Some of these kids' parents, some of these kids' grandparents weren't even born when Nixon was in office. But this is what they tell us. They say, "Oh no, it's not we don't have accountability." No, it's them. It's the system against us, brother. It's the system against us, brother. It's the white man. Man, get out of here. I gotta go. Y'all tired of me. Woo! Church and state, man. I'm telling you, and I'm gonna tell you this because I love you. And listen, come on, and this is a black man who is, I believe he has the Holy Ghost. I believe he's a Christian. And this is your answer? You're going to blame Richard Nixon? So this is the problem. When Christian politicians get in position, we revert to the tropes and the themes of what's popular so we can stay in power. I guarantee you that's not in the Bible. Scripture says parents are to train up a child, right? In the way he should go. So when he's old, he won't depart in it. But we're blaming this on Richard Nixon. Oh, God, you know why I had to shoot that guy? Richard freaking Milhouse Nixon. Oh, you know why? Oh, man, you know why I have to do these drugs? I have to rob and steal? It's because of Richard Nixon. I swear to you, man, if Richard Nixon didn't get elected, I would be so much more, Oh, it would be so much better. Anyways, y'all tired of me. We'll be back next week. Listen, this is going to be a wild election season. I don't know next week, are the teachers union going to want more of the things? I don't know. They wanted all the things last week. We don't know if President Biden's still going to be in office. See, here's the problem. Last thing, and I know I told you, this is the preacher in me coming out. I'm getting ready to close. If President Biden, and let me give you this story real quick. So y'all could probably tell right now, I'm definitely leaning more conservative right wing in my politics and the way I look at things, which I don't think is wrong. Actually, I agree with that because I think most Americans, and particularly most Christians, have a more, conservative approach to morality and values and stuff like that. It's neither here nor there, though. But anyways, I gladly will say I did not vote for President Joe Biden. I don't agree with his policies for the most part, and has nothing to do with LGBTQ stuff or abortion, although that's a part of it. I just think, again, they push a socialistic, semi-communist agenda, which for me, Marxism, communism is enemy number one to our nation and an enemy of the church and this great nation. So anybody that pushes and says stuff and does things to do that, I'm against it 100%. So anyways, and we're supposed to pray for our presidents and our leaders. So I honor the president. Like, you've never heard me talk down. I don't do let's go Brandon because I think that's ridiculous. I think that's dishonorable of the president. I don't, call names, right? So there's that. I try to be honorable in it. But I want to say this. I had a dream. I had a dream last night. If you can spirituals, you know what that is. But anyways, I had a dream, and I know it was from God, and it was a dream about President Biden. I was with him, and I seen him hurting, and I seen him like he was, and I say this in all respect, this was a dream, and my sister can relate to this. I told it to her, and it was, this was before the debate, but it was just like the Lord put such a compassion in my heart for the president, and I never really had this kind of compassion for him before because I felt he was doing so much harm to our nation and things that he's done I just can't agree with or whatever. So I was indifferent, but I was not like compassionate for him. And the dream I had was very bad. He was sick. I saw him sick, and I saw him kind of just like being abused in a sense. He was being dragged places. He was defecating on himself in my dream, and he was struggling, and he was weak. And I woke up, I was like, man, what is going on? It's a weird dream. And I went and had to roll up my MAGA 2024 covers, right? Which y'all probably think, which I don't have, by the way. Anyways, yeah, right next to my Trump slippers. Anyways, which I don't have. It's a joke. But anyways, my heart, compassion was just outburst. I was like, man, I really, my heart is for him. And then to see the debate and to see, like to understand just how hard it must be for this man to do his job is tough, man. I just feel for the guy, and my heart is for him. And, we pray that the Lord would uphold him and that, he'll be able to do what he has to do his best for this nation in God's perspective. But anyways, so I said all that because I don't remember. I got on a rant tangent. Why did I say that? Oh, because here's the thing. If they remove him from being, see, here's the problem. Because we've been gaslit for so long, and they know that he's not right. I mean, physically healthy to the chop. If he's not capable of being president, running for president, then he technically shouldn't be capable to actually be president. So we'll have a challenge. And this is something that the Democratic Party is going to have to align with. Because if he does get replaced, to say, oh, he's not healthy enough to run for president, then they're going to have to admit that he's not healthy enough to be president now. And if he's not healthy enough to be president, then he needs to step aside now as president, because it doesn't matter if it's 4 weeks. I wouldn't want a senile, dementia-riddled person to have control of the nuclear weapon. I mean, as much as Joy Reid is afraid of Hitler, then wouldn't you be afraid of a person who doesn't know where he is, doesn't know his name, That would be more detrimental to democracy. But if they admit that he's not able to be president, I mean to run for election or to be the candidate, then they'll have to admit and they'll have to face the pressure of removing him from office and invoking what I believe they would call the 25th Amendment. I believe that's it. I don't know for sure, but I keep hearing that 25th Amendment. But again, that's something that, I don't know if they want to do that because that's going to make them look hard in the face because I just think the Democrat Party has been overtaken by corrupt individuals who have a liberal agenda, liberal Marxist agenda, who are deep state and who are anti-God and anti-Christ. And they're power brokers of that. And I just think if Kamala Harris or anybody else is proven to be the candidate, then they need to that same day have Joe Biden step down. And the only way that if he does not run for re-election, it'll be the same day he says, I have to resign as president. You heard it here first, ladies and gentlemen. You heard it here first. I'm just saying if he does it, that's what's going to have to happen because it's going to bring in a question. Because you can't tell me he can't run for president, but he can still be president. Don't make sense. Don't make sense. But anyways, that's life. 2024 America, man. But the church, you got to stand up. Let's not be gaslit. Let's not be duped. Let's not fall for Marxist, communist plays and all that stuff, man. All right? Listen, vote for who you feel is best. Do how you want to do. But please be kingdom-minded. Please, let me give you this last. I know I keep telling you I'm getting ready to go, but I'm getting ready to close. Let me find this one. The scripture tells us this. Oh, that's funny. I want to say it's Ephesians chapter 4. This is going to be out of context, but I'm going to do it anyways, which I don't like to do, but it's to prove a point. It's to prove a point. So this is technically not in 100% context. So by definition, this is probably not, I shouldn't do it, but I'm going to do it because it's proven a point. James chapter 1, verse 16. I promise you we're getting ready to go. We're getting ready to go. It says, do not be deceived, my beloved brethren. This is what I feel for you today. Do not be deceived. Don't be deceived. Oh, God. And there's a verse I need. I can't think of it right now. Ephesians 5:6. Called it. Here it is. I have to look it up. Watch this. This is, again, also not in context, but just take it as it is. Let no one deceive you with empty words. For because of these things, the wrath of God comes upon the sons of disobedience. Now, he's talking about immorality, impure and stuff like that. And, not doing stuff that we shouldn't do. So it's not talking about media, but that's a principle I think we can pull. Let no one deceive you with empty words. For because of these things, the wrath of God comes. You feel me? I got to give you this verse. Oh my gosh. I can't find it. Thank you, Jesus. Literally. Matthew 24:24. My God. For false Christs and false prophets will arise and will show great signs and wonder so as to mislead, if possible, even the elect. Let me read it in King James for you. I promise you I'm getting out of here. For there shall also arise false Christs and false prophets and shall show great signs and wonders, insomuch that if it were possible, they shall deceive the very elect. As believers, we are not supposed to be deceived. We have anti-deception technology within us called the Holy Ghost. The problem is many of us quench the Holy Spirit. Many of us deny him because we are led and intoxicated by our wants, by the cares of this world, by the idolatry of our ethnicity or even our gender or even your political affiliation. But the scripture is telling us, Jesus says what's going to happen is false Christ will arise and he's going to deceive the elect. It's not supposed to be possible, but it's going to be made possible because CNN told you so. They told you to think not to believe yourself, not to listen to your preachers, to listen to the science. Don't do your own research. All these things cause us to be deceived. And I want to encourage you to not be deceived. I want to encourage you to listen to the Holy Ghost. Ask the Lord to open your eyes to see. Of course, we know there are two wings, Republican and Democrat, two wings of the same bird, uniparty for the most part, in many instances. But what we do know is that there is truth and there are lies. There's good and evil. And I see a whole bunch of outright, blatant, antichrist evil coming from the extreme left and the liberals that would even invalidate and go against what we should stand for as a church and what we should believe. And these same people are trying to convince you and to get you to think how they want you to think. I showed you today. Today was a lengthy episode, but whatever. It's worth it. Because we got to wake up and not be duped and not be misled and be deceived. Because we have the Holy Spirit, the Spirit of truth. That's all I got for you today. We'll be back next week. It's going to get better. This is going to be a wild summertime. Now, remember what I told you. If President Biden if he chooses to not run for re-election, then he's either going to have to bow down. Well, I'm not going to say that because I don't want no secret service coming to my door. Yeah, he's going to have to not be president anymore if he steps down. But anyways, that's what it is. I love you. Have a great one. You know, this is Church and State. Your man's your friend, your brother. Some of y'all's pastor, the right Reverend, although someone say wrong, Bryson G. Baylor. Please say the G. Shout out to my baby boy Monk. I love you. All of our church family, everybody's watching, our usuals. Thank you so much. I know you're mad at me. We missed King's School, but, you know, I got to get my prophet on and, you know, help us see. All right. I love you. I holla.